can get started, anybody remember Mars, not MERS, Mars, that came out? As a third-party provider, I must disclose and read and get through the legal mumbo-jumbo on this stuff, so bear with me. Nationwide Loan Help and Pinnacle Law Group is not associated with the government, and our services is not approved by the government and or your lender. Even if you accept this offer and use our services, your lender may not agree to change your loan. As a Mars provider, you are required to comply with the following regulations. Full disclosure during all stages of interaction with the consumer. Document retention for 24 months. No upfront fees can be charged. Monitor compliance of these regulations by your employees. Requires process for documenting and addressing complaints. As a Mars provider, you are prohibited from committing the following acts. Promising a specific outcome. Advising the consumer about the terms of their loan. Suggesting you are associated with the lender or servicer. Suggesting the amount or percent of money the consumer will save. Suggesting the consumer will be provided legal representation when in fact they will not. Suggest you are associated with the government and in fact you are not. Penalties and fines are $11,000 per file for us, up to $22,000 a day. All right, enough of that. How many here are new to the real estate world? Like how new? How long?
Like 5 to 6 months.
Okay, you?
Yeah, about
About
six months. Yeah, as my wife
You
said.
two, I think you've been in a little
Couple
while.
months.
All right, you guys? All right. Before I get started, you're going to learn a lot about short sales. You're going to know the pros, the cons, how they work, how to get more listings. But one thing you have to understand today, you took your time, came here to learn, and there is no crazy questions. Ask them. As crazy as it sounds, all I know is you're playing with your paycheck, and I take my paycheck very, very seriously. So when we're dealing with people's paychecks or incomes, don't hesitate. Raise your hand. It's a small group. There is no embarrassing questions. So please, if you don't understand something, raise your hand. You want to ask a question, raise your hand. That's what we're here for. The more you know, the more you learn, the more you're going to make in this business, period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to make more money if you understand the short sale world. Okay. A little bit about the history of Nationwide Loan Help. I started this company. It's going to be 6 years now. My background has been in sales all my life. I used to own Party 2 car dealerships, minority partners. But I was in that business. I retired, it'll be 8 years ago when I was 40 years old. I did very well in sales. That's me. That's what you guys are in. My wife allowed me to sit at home for 6 months, and she goes, get the heck out of the house, or we're going to get divorced and get a job, because you staying at home isn't going to work. So I started this company. We started out doing loan modifications and short sales. I figured, all right, here's somewhere I can go and work 10 hours a day, get out of the house. Well, the 10 hours turned into 60, 70, 80 hours. I now got 15 employees. I have 2 partners. So this has grown for me. I love it. It's a passion for me. Why? You're helping a homeowner and everybody's making money. There isn't nothing better than 2 people like that. Make money and help the homeowners. Next thing, when we're talking about short sales at any time in my presentation, and or when you're with your client, and or if you've got one working, turn off common sense. Short sales do not run with common sense. Let me give you one example. We had an approval on a short sale, which I got to be careful because of the Privacy Act, from the big bank of, the first initial is A, I think you can figure out who that is. Had an approval on a short sale for $200,000. The buyers couldn't get financing. Stuff happens. What are you going to do? Buyers then walked away from it. The agent relisted it in 2 weeks, got a $250,000 cash offer. By the way, cash or finance does not move a short sale any faster. Common sense tells you what? Ship in the new purchase agreement at $250,000, the bank's going to jump for joy. About 10 days later, here comes the denial letter. And I'm like, what? So I got involved in that one personally. I picked up the phone. I called the negotiator, asked for the negotiator supervisor, and I get to the vice president of the short sale division. I said, help me out here. I have your approval for Mr. and Mrs. Smith that's approved, still good, for $200,000. I bring you a new offer, $50,000 more, and you turn it down. You know what he said to me? Yep. wait a minute, you're throwing away $50,000. What am I supposed to tell the buyer? Here's what's crazy. Get a hold of your buyer, tell your buyer to reduce his offer to $200,000, submit it in, and I'll approve it.
Well,
Okay. I hang up the phone, I call the listing agent, tell the listing agent calls buyer's agent calls me, or calls the buyer calls me. What kind of company are you running? You want me to do what? I said, I don't believe it's gonna happen, but I need you to do this. They rewrite the offer, $200,000, we submit it in, we approve it, we close it. Well, about 3 weeks later, we got a fruit basket in our office that was little, I could not put my hands around it, from the buyer, saying, thanks for saving me $50,000. Now that's one of hundreds of examples I can give you. There is no common sense when it comes to short sales. Picture it this way. We're in New York, we just bought plane tickets, we're going to California. We get in the plane, we sit down, and all of a sudden we notice the pilot's going towards Florida. Well, he's driving. So our job is to say, hey, pilot, psst, turn a little bit this way, turn a little bit this way, and eventually we'll get to California. That's our job. They don't run the same way, and there is no common sense. So please, you got to turn off common sense. Don't take all this personal. That's just how short sales run, and it's not changing anytime soon. Okay. Anybody know what's involved? Or a short sale, we have to do two basic things for the seller. When a seller signs their mortgage, you may want to write this down. There's two important documents in that mortgage. One is the mortgage that allows the bank to put a lien on the property. The other section is called a note. Look at your own mortgage when you get home if you keep all that paperwork. I don't. The note is how much money they loaned you for how long at what interest rate. Step one to a short sale is to get them to release the mortgage, which is the lien on the property. Now we have to deal with what are they going to do with the deficiency, or what are they going to do with the note. So there's two different areas that we have to touch. A lot of your sellers are going to get confused and think, oh, they approved it, I'm out. I don't owe any money. That's not always true, and we'll get into more of that later. So, in the mortgage paperwork that somebody signs, there's two important documents. One is a mortgage and one is a note. Two different things, two different negotiations that we have to do in a short sale. Any questions on that? Okay. When we get a short sale approved, again, means that they're going to release the mortgage. The second step is try to get them to relieve the deficiency. The myth out there is if you do a short sale, you're guaranteed not to owe the bank anything. That's not correct. I'll be the first one to tell you. The goal is to get a zero deficiency. If your seller says, I won't do this short sale unless you get me a guaranteed zero deficiency, have them call me. 99% of the time, I can convince them to go forward with no guarantee of a deficiency. And here's what I tell them. I understand that's what you're looking for. I understand that's very important. But what if I can't get that deficiency? What are you going to do? And they all say the same thing. I'll just let it go back. Okay. Does anybody know the repercussions when you let a house go back? House goes back, it goes into foreclosure. Once it goes into foreclosure, you're then in a redemption period. The redemption period is up. We all know what all that is, or I can go over that. We know
go
what
over
that
this.
is?
Yeah, go.
Okay, go over it.
For the sake of the video.
All right. When somebody stops making their payment, when it becomes 15 to 30 days late, the bank is calling. 45 days, they're blowing up your phone. 60 to 90 days, they're sending you a letter stating that we're going to accelerate foreclosure, trying to scare the homeowner. Well, about another 2 months goes by, then they hold what they call a sheriff's sale. The misconception to your advantage is, oh, they're going to hold a sheriff's sale and sheriff's going to kick me out of my house. That is not how it goes down in the state of Michigan. When a property goes to a sheriff's sale, the house is actually auctioned off at the county courthouse. In today's economy, 99% of the highest bidder is actually the first lender. When that happens, the deed then is taken out of that homeowner's name and put into the bank